Women, exchange of views with Edna Adna Ismail, Director and Founder of Edna Adna Maternity Hospital in Hargeisa. Under this item, we will talk about the healthcare of Somali women. It now gives me great pleasure to invite Mrs. Edna Ismail to take the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I hope you will be kinder with me when it comes to time than you have been with the previous speakers.
When it comes to women, I'm very kind.
Thank you. And I also hope the machine will be kind as well. Mr. President, I'm here to talk about the health of women and children. And when you talk about the health of women and children, you're talking about the health of people, of humanity. You cannot have a world, you cannot have men if you do not have women who produce children. In this time when the world is concerned about the high maternal mortality rate of women, and the world has set itself goals, Millennium Development Goals, health for all. We all remember Alma Ata and health for all by the year 2000. All these resolutions have come and gone, and women continue to suffer of causes that no woman in this day and age should die of. They die of hemorrhage, they die of obstruction, they die of anemia, they die of complications that the world has developed solutions for. Okay, use this one. While this is being set up, I would like to assure you that the solutions that we are seeking to save lives are simple, far more simple than developing complicated technologies that send man to the moon. Simple solutions that a person who has had a training for 2 years can develop the skills and the knowledge to save a human life. My country, Somaliland, a country that is probably not on your maps, but is on this planet. It has people who have needs and people who have health complications. And because we do not have the technical resources and the financial resources that many countries elsewhere have, we have had to rely on solutions that are simple, cost-effective, and which can be replicated anywhere else in the world. That solution is the training of midwives. Do we need doctors? Of course we need doctors. Do we need big hospitals? Yes, of course we need big hospitals. Do we need equipment? Do we need respirators? Do we need heart-lung machines? Do we need kidney machines? But we don't have those hospitals. We don't have the medical expertise. We do not have the equipment, and even if we did, we would not have the power and the energy to run many of the machines that you have in your countries. So what do? We get people from the village, young girls who are literate, young girls who are eager to learn and teach, to come and help their women. In my life, I'm 74 and plus. I'm a nurse, I've seen crashes, I've seen all kinds of human misery. But one of the saddest things I have seen in my life is to see a woman who has suffered complications from having a baby and who was assisted by her 9-year-old daughter, because there were no hospitals to help her. There were no qualified people to help her. And the only person who could help her was a 9-year-old. We cannot leave the life of human beings in the hands of 9-year-olds. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? The screen has gone to the other side of the moon. Ladies and gentlemen, what we have done in Somaliland can be done anywhere else in the world. We have developed a curriculum that is appropriate. We have developed the resources to be able to teach people in the skills of saving human lives. And if it can be done by us, it can be done anywhere. What we are looking for is a solution that is appropriate, cost-effective, does not waste too much of your taxpayers' money, but which can go a long way to prevent all the simple complications that kill women. What we have done is also to train members of a team, of the health team. You cannot have healthcare in isolation by midwives alone. You need laboratory technicians. You need someone to tell me what blood group this woman belongs to who is bleeding and who is hemorrhaging. I need a pharmacist to tell me what medicines are appropriate to give to this woman who has severe anemia or severe infections. We need doctors who can perform safe and efficient cesarean sections. We need someone to provide anesthesia to this woman who is to have an operation. All of these are members of a team, but I think the glue that connects all of these health workers is the midwife. Because 80% of women can have a normal delivery assisted by a midwife. It's those 15 or 20% of pregnant women who need more complicated and more advanced technology to save them. Let's try again. Let's put it on and then let's see. I'm sorry, but this is a complication that we had not foreseen, and a midwife cannot solve that. We need the umbilical cord that will attach this machine to that screen, and I think there are people who are far more expert in this than I am. I'm from the pencil sharpening generation, so don't blame me for this one.
It's gone.
There we are. Thank you. Ça ira très bien, merci. Et je m'excuse pour le francophone, je vais parler en anglais parce que je suis plus à l'aise en langue anglaise, alors vous allez me pardonner pour ça. People are going to say Somaliland. Where is that? Somaliland is a country in the Horn of Africa. It's a country that was named Somaliland in 1883. It's not a name that we have coined yesterday or the day before. It's a country that my people have had over the years. The territory of Somaliland is one that was defined based on Anglo-French treaties, Anglo-Italian treaties, Anglo-Ethiopian treaties. It's a territory that lives within the boundaries that my country inherited at the time of independence in June 1960. Somaliland neither believes in fragmentation of states, nor in secession of regions, nor in splintering of nations. We believe in the integrity of nations as they were at the time of independence. Somaliland suffered a long civil war, 10 years from 1982 to 1991. 90% of the country, Somaliland, was destroyed. 250,000 of our people died. We all know of the genocide in Rwanda. We all know of what has happened in the world. But very few people know of what happened in my country, Somaliland. The bodies, the remains there belong to children who are 2 and 3 and 4 years old. I don't see the military value of killing 2 and 3-year-olds. I don't see the value of killing 250,000 people. That's a hospital. Who destroys a hospital, or mosque, or church, or temple, or homes, or offices? Somaliland, before that, was a country that was among the countries of the world. This is on the west lawn of the White House with our former president, Prime Minister Mohammed Ibrahim Igal. These are the years when Somalilanders and the Somalis were hosted and welcomed in capitals around the world. This is in Germany. The exact population of the Horn of Africa, which is inhabited by Somalis, not only by people of Somaliland, but people of Djibouti speak Somali. The people in the North Kenya speak Somali. The people in La Somalia Italiana speak Somali. The people in the fifth region of Ethiopia speak Somali, and the people of Somaliland speak Somali. So you have over 20 million people who speak the Somali language. 50% of Somalis are nomads. They go after their herds, they go after their camels, they look for pasture, they look for water. They move across the Horn of Africa from one corner to the other, looking for something to sustain them and sustain their animals. During the season of drought, of course, they all come to cities. The maternal mortality of the Somali woman is among the highest in the world. And when I was with the World Health Organization, and I was the regional advisor for nursing and midwifery in those years, Papua New Guinea and Lesotho have a higher maternal mortality rate. This was in the 80s. Today, my country, Somaliland, is not recorded. And after it was destroyed, who knows what the maternal mortality rate of the Somali woman is today. It's a territory that is a free-for-all for pirates, for warlords, for terrorists, for Al-Shabaab. Where is the study that has been carried out to assess how many Somali women die of causes that they could have been prevented from? Only 10% of our women have access to health care. That's why women have to be assisted by their little daughters of 8 or 9 or 10 years old. Post-conflict country, facilities destroyed, health workers killed, many went into exile, many living in some of your countries, poverty, displacement, low literacy. Teach a woman to read and write, she learns to look after herself. Deny them education, her situation only becomes worse. Severe gender inequality. When I was a minister, I was the only woman in the cabinet of 28 ministers. At that time, there were no women in the parliament, there were no women in the Senate. A nation with just one woman in a cabinet is one country that is demonstrating gross gender inequality. Of course, we have cultural and religious constraints that also keep the girl in the house and stop her from seeking education where schools are available. Most children die of the causes that we all know. Acute respiratory infections, they die of gastrointestinal infections, they die of tuberculosis, they die of meningitis. We cannot vaccinate them, you do. They die of hepatitis, they're not vaccinated against it, your children are. Our children die of causes that you have been able to protect your children from dying. You don't have epidemics of measles, we do. You don't have children dying of neonatal tetanus, we do, because we do not have the means to protect them from these diseases. We have the maternal mortality rate was estimated, nobody studied it, to be 1,600 per 100,000 live births. Your women have a chance of dying of maternal mortality, maternal-related, pregnancy-related causes of 1 in 4,000. Our women have 1 in 13,000 chances of dying. Less than 10% have access to health care. your women, all your women have access to health care. Too few facilities. We don't have, when we have facilities, we don't have health workers who can work in these facilities. When women need to be referred, we have no roads, we have no ambulances, we have no helicopters, we have no way of looking for help and seeking help and getting help for our women. Your people probably have. This is the situation that I inherited when I retired from a long career with the UN. And I could go and settle in your countries, I can settle here, seek refuge, live on your taxpayers' money, or go home. I was taught something in your countries. I had to take that knowledge home. I gained experience over the years. I had to take that home. I made savings. I had assets. I had retirement benefits. I had things that at one time I was using on duty-free shops and boutiques. I took that home. And if it bought me syringes, and if it bought me bedpans, and if it bought me the means to be able to train, thank God, why not? And that's what I expect others like me to go home and take back what they have, take back to the people, share with the people what the world has given them. Because this is the only way we can fight poverty and injustice in Africa, and particularly in the Horn of Africa, which is one of the most deprived countries in the world. So, to build a hospital, you need to clear the land. The only land that was big enough to hold a hospital was a land that was once a cemetery, a graveyard, one that was used for a military parades, one that was once used for executions. It was also a place that became a dump, a garbage dump. An old donkey dies on the road, you throw it on that dump. That is where we started this hospital. And it took 4 years of hard work to build it and eventually to finish it. And the moral of the story is, if an old retired woman can do it, anybody can. You need to be able to do it because your heart tells you to do it. It doesn't matter if your hands know how to do it or not. A carpenter, a mason, an engineer will know how to do it. But your heart must go into it first. You must be that first builder who conceives the idea to build, and the experts will do the technical part of it. That hospital today was 10 years old. We celebrated the 10th anniversary on the 9th of March. During that time, we have delivered over 12,000 children. That hospital on the dump, on the garbage dump, is today a referral hospital. One that treats people from a wide geographical area from the Horn of Africa. A quarter of the people we treat in the hospital come from neighboring countries and mainly come from neighboring Somalia. Particularly women who need cesarean sections cannot find the space and the welcome to be operated on in Somalia, so they come to Somaliland. The hospitals in Somalia are filled with war wounded and injured and battle victims. That's why women come to us, to Somaliland, to my hospital and other hospitals in Somaliland, to have the treatment that they need. Maternal mortality, of course, we've spoken about, but what kills these women? The biggest killer, of course, is hemorrhage. Women who die of hemorrhage don't reach hospitals. They die before they get to you. And the largest number of deaths we record are resulting from eclampsia. No woman in this day and age should die of eclampsia. It's preventable, it's detectable, it's manageable. Many died at home, so we don't know how many of them died. Another complication that results from childbirth is the development of an obstetrical fistula. You and I are sitting here because we can control our body fluids. We can control what comes in and what comes out of our body. Women who suffer obstetrical fistula cannot do that. Their body is no longer able to seal itself. and hold on to its secretions until it reaches an appropriate space and time to be able to release it. This is one of the most humiliating and the most damaging complication of pregnancy and childbirth that affects many of our women. And I really commend hospitals in Africa. I know you have them in Senegal and Nigeria and Ethiopia, the Fistula Hospital in Ethiopia, where people are doing fantastic work to repair these women and put them back in the state they were in before they suffered these. But how many places in Africa can we repair obstetrical fistula? We need training, we need skills, we need anesthesia, we need surgeons, which many of them do not have. So women just suffer in silence or commit suicide and blow themselves up or burn themselves. So with our limited resources, we have used a strategy to train midwives. And to train midwives who are low-tech, low-cost, and time-effective solution. Training community midwives. And that's what we've done in Somaliland. And that training has reduced the maternal mortality rate in the women who are delivered in our hospital to a quarter of the national average by the simple training of midwives. A training of a midwife costs me $4,000 US. That is $7 a day, or less than what I would spend on a cup of coffee in one of your countries. $7 a day would help us train, equip a woman with the knowledge to save other women for generations. They can also identify problems and therefore refer them to where these women with complications can be helped better. This is my army. They have no guns, but they have knowledge. These are 18-year-old girls who will recruit for training. They give me the joy and the purpose of life because I see in them the future of my country. I see in them the future of Africa. Competent, kind, and caring women. This is the crop that we need to multiply by thousands in Africa. These girls in red are the community midwives. These are the ones that with God's grace, and if I have the means, and God gives me life to stay on and hold on, I hope to multiply and train to the number of 1,000. And if I can get support, if I can get the support of teachers and the resources, this is what we need to do to minimize and reduce maternal mortality. These are, of course, the more senior ones. In dark blue, these take 4 years to train. But many of these I lose to hospitals. Many of these do not work in villages. Many of these end up working in hospitals in your countries. I know they are in Europe. I know some of them are in America. I know many of them have been pirated, and I'm not using that word lightly, pirated by countries that have the financial means to take them from us, but who did not contribute to their training when they were in our country. And of course we train men and women as nurses, as lab technicians, as pharmacists. This is what we have in a training school in Somaliland. And if Somaliland can do it, anybody can do it. You can develop a curriculum that's appropriate to your country, and we're happy to share and willing to share with you. We have a track record of 20 years. We have a track record of 10 years of training these health workers. We have done it. We have perfected it. We are doing it, and we are saving lives doing it. And if anybody wants to share, have access to that, they can access our website. We need to set standards in Africa. We need to say it can be done. And many people make me very angry when they say, oh yeah, but this is Africa. We cannot reach what other countries have reached. My answer is, yes, we can. We can do it. We can set standards. We can impose a discipline. We can have an appropriate selection that identifies the better students to achieve a much higher standard of knowledge and skills. If Somaliland can do it, anybody can do it. That's the message I want to leave behind with you. That child on the screen was the first child who was delivered in my hospital. He is today 10 years old. 12,000 others have been born there. Hundreds of women with fistula have been repaired. Hundreds of children with cleft lips who could not otherwise have gone to school because children would laugh at them have been repaired. Hundreds and thousands of people who have tumors and other needs for surgery have been operated on that site that was once a killing ground. Ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. President, I thank you for the generosity you have given me with the time, and I'm happy to share with you and answer any questions that I can. I can talk for hours because I am passionate about what I do. And if I don't leave anything else with you, all I want to leave with you is the passion to do something about a problem in your country. If a 74-year-old woman from Somaliland can do it, you can all do it. But please, do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I said to you that I have a special chamber in my heart for women. Now, I have listened, and I've listened very attentively. I know that the presentation was actually charged with political electrons, and also charged with social products. My job at this stage is to keep the neutral on the issue of health. So all the questions that are the deliberations that are going to
was that the first step should be made with this education of midwife. So I would like to congratulate you, and maybe this is the first step in exchange of you, because I'm sure that probably that the only possibility to start with education of midwife, and this is the cheapest way to save thousands of lives, maybe hundreds of thousands of lives of mothers. What I would like to ask you in your presentation was also mentioned female genital mutilation. I would like to ask you what results did you achieve in this?
Thank you very much for that question, because you have asked me something I feel also very passionate about. Having started a fight against FGM in my country, at that time we united with Somalia, so to Somalia in 1976. We're still fighting that battle. It's a battle that we're not winning, Madam Chair, because women, grandmothers, and the women communities in our countries think they are doing the right thing for their daughters. When FGM is not a religious obligation, is not a religious Islamic requirement, they are doing it out of tradition. We have been privileged to have done the first and only study of FGM in Somaliland, and this is available online, free of charge. And it proves that 97% of the 4,000 women re-examined had suffered some form of mutilation. What we are now looking for is a solution with partnership with fathers. In the old days, we concentrated on the grandmother and the aunt and the mother. What we need to have on board is the father of this girl to come and say, I am the head of this family and my daughter will not be cut. We also need to have the political support of countries in your countries where immigrants go. I was very happy to see when I was getting my visa to go to the US a couple of months ago, and I saw the American consulate and noticed on the wall saying that if you do that in the United States, you will be committing a crime. I wish I could see that in the consulate. It would be a big moral deterrent. We're not going to look after the skirts of every little girl, but we are going to have a moral deterrent that is going to say, if you want to come to my country, respect the body of this girl. So, FGM is still happening. We're sensitizing people about it, but we must have men on board, we must have religious leaders on board, we must have politicians on board. Otherwise, we will continue to lose that battle which we cannot afford. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much, Madam. I am very grateful for your answer. I just want to tell you that we have inside Europe also a very big problem with this issue, because it became just a widespread, and just a few countries has it acknowledged as a crime. So we have a big task ahead, how to deal with it. So I would like to give the floor to Sudan.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair, for giving me the chance. I think this is, and I would like to congratulate their program, especially when we talk of MDG. I think it's under goal number 5. But again, I would like to share the experience from my country when it comes to maternal mortality, that women nowadays are given very kids, which is very important. And as I've said, I commend your presentation because you have spoken about capacity building among women in the community, which is very much important. But again, we need to look at the distance of these clinics, because we may be giving them capacity building, but again, you find that clinics are very far, especially when we talk of rural areas. Now, when we talk of capacity building among community women, this one may help, because when a woman becomes having that labor pain, at least we'll be having the first service, so that at least, you know, by the time she reaches the clinic, maybe she may be able to deliver along the way, but safely. This is something that needs to be taken into consideration. Another aspect is the sensitization. I'm very much pleased to know that from your presentation you have spoken about even sensitizing men. These men are their husbands. Sometimes you find that women are the most vulnerable group. And because they're the most vulnerable group, sensitizing men is also very vital. Even children, not only men. Children above 8 years, because you find that this woman lies in her room. There is no husband around. There is only a baby, and this baby or this child may be a boy or a girl. So sensitization has to be falling into the entire family, not just men. And when we talk of FGM, for instance, in the country where I come from, Tanzania, we have a very strong political support, and it's purely restricted. Any family. In some of our tribes, yes, you find that this FGM is taking place. But the government nowadays has set up a rule that whoever that is found with this kind of whatever, will be taken to jail. And we have a very strong political support, and the government is behind this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I would like to give the floor to South Africa. please be as short as you are able, because we are running out of time.
Yes, thank you, Madam Co-Chair, and for the opportunity. There are just three things. In the first place, Madam Ismail, we must certainly congratulate you not only for your passion and commitment, but your articulation in a manner that has encouraged us all to do something. The thing is, the training which you referred to, and possibly the poaching and so on by other countries in the West largely, perhaps one, unless it has already been considered, to be thought of as approaching such countries to get them to make a major contribution to the training in this area. Because, yes, we are doing their work for them, and they are benefiting from the results. The second issue is, yes indeed, it is a socio-political issue which impacts on the economic issues of development, because as Madam Edna has pointed out, if a woman dies, the children are at greater risk than they would otherwise be. Who will look after them? There's an economic issue here as well. And then finally, if we can share, certainly we share with you South Africa, we have found that to resolve women's issues, children's issues, you cannot do it without making it a people's issue, a man's issue as well. So we are heartened to hear that you're also looking at the fathers, but it must also be the brothers. The brothers are also strong on tactics sometimes in these areas. And we need to make the whole family, the whole community, the whole nation part of that challenge for a solution. But once again, we admire you and we congratulate you.
Thank you so much, Madame Zaborska. I have the floor.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Porte. Est-ce que dans votre projet, il y a aussi une participation de fonds européens? Est-ce que la Commission européenne soutenue par le financement de vos projets? Merci beaucoup. Et est-ce que vous avez demandé le soutien? Est-ce que vous avez demandé l'aide?
Thank you so much, and now I would like to give the floor to the Commission.
Madame la Présidente, Madame, Messieurs les parlementaires, bonjour. Je suis le docteur Eric Satin, je représente donc la Commission, je travaille dans l'unité thématique santé. Je voudrais tout d'abord féliciter Madame Ismail pour sa présentation intéressante et fortement passionnée. En tant que docteur, je ne peux qu'abonder directement dans tout ce que vous avez fait et encore une fois vous féliciter. Au titre de la Commission, tout d'abord, je voudrais souligner que ce qu'on appelle la santé globale, la communication qu'il y a eu en termes de santé globale, souligne l'importance du planning familial, mais aussi de la santé maternelle et de la santé des enfants comme un des fondamentaux des actions qui doivent être menées. Notre approche, notre perception de ce qui doit être en termes de développement pour les systèmes, pour la santé, se positionne surtout en termes de renforcement des systèmes de santé dans leur ensemble, car comme ça a été souligné par plusieurs personnes aujourd'hui et par vous-même, c'est un tout. C'est pas les sages-femmes au milieu d'un désert qui vont arriver à avoir un impact, à changer complètement la donne. Il faut, comme vous l'avez souligné, des laborantins, il faudra peut-être des médecins, il faudra peut-être des chirurgiens, il faut un système de référence pour amener dans des niveaux secondaires, il faut que les patients puissent venir du village vers le centre de santé, du village vers le centre de santé. Donc c'est tout un ensemble. Et notre approche est essentiellement tournée dans ce sens, de renforcer les systèmes dans leur ensemble, en se basant sur ce que vous êtes en train de développer au niveau du Somaliland, c'est-à-dire un ensemble de stratégies nationales de santé, et qui sont traduites en termes de plans. Au niveau de ce qui est de la formation, que ce soit donc des sages-femmes, mais aussi des hommes, que les hommes soient inclus dans les systèmes de formation pour ce qui touche directement à la santé de la femme ou des enfants, ça me semble essentiel dans le domaine que vous traitez, mais aussi dans d'autres domaines. Je me rappelle, j'ai travaillé précédemment, avant de travailler pour la Commission, en Zambie, pour soutenir des programmes de lutte contre le sida. Une des actions essentielles, notamment pour que les femmes aillent en consultation, aillent se faire tester, c'était de former, d'avoir un impact sur les hommes pour qu'ils poussent, en tant que chef de famille, qu'ils poussent les femmes à aller bénéficier des soins et que les femmes puissent amener parfois simplement les enfants se faire tester. Donc que ce soit pour ce problème-là, la santé maternelle, mais tout un autre, globalement toute la santé, il est important que la communauté des hommes, que ce soit les pères, les maris ou les frères, soient intégrés dans ces systèmes de formation. Je voudrais aussi rebondir sur une intervention de la représentante de l'Afrique du Sud, comme quoi je ne peux qu'abonder dans son sens, comme quoi la santé est un fondamental, un des fondamentaux dans la croissance des pays. Et dans ce sens-là, je voudrais rappeler que la nouvelle programmation pour le développement, Agenda for Change, un des éléments essentiels qui a été retenu est non seulement le secteur de la santé, mais aussi le secteur de l'éducation. Quant à ce qui est des financements spécifiques de la Commission européenne à un support direct pour votre hôpital, les systèmes de financement de la Commission européenne pour le Somaliland c'est un petit peu complexe. Je vais développer deux volets. De façon globale, la Commission européenne aide le Somaliland, mais le Somaliland ne peut aider de façon massive le Somaliland qu'au travers de 3 secteurs, ce qu'on appelle les secteurs de concentration. Et la santé n'a pas été retenue par le Somaliland comme un secteur primordial. Il nous semble que c'est le développement économique, la gouvernance et un autre secteur qui ont été retenus comme prioritaires. Donc malheureusement, du fait de cette contrainte, comme quoi la Commission européenne ne peut abonder massivement, j'entends, qu'au travers de 3 secteurs de concentration, et que la santé n'en est pas un, on ne peut pas utiliser cet outil majeur. Il y a un autre outil qui existe, c'est d'utiliser ce qu'on appelle les non-state actors. Et là, ça pose un problème de qualification des ONG des ONG d'origine du Somaliland, parce qu'elles n'ont pas été, accréditées en termes de garantie pour pouvoir bénéficier de support direct. Donc les supports qui passent, il y en a quand même quelques-uns qui passent, qui touchent au secteur santé dans le Somaliland, passent essentiellement, pas exclusivement, mais essentiellement par des organisations non gouvernementales internationales qui redistribuent les fonds au niveau du Somaliland. Si je ne me trompe pas, si mes informations sont correctes, une de ces ONG fait participer votre hôpital, certainement à un niveau mineur, malheureusement, fait participer un petit peu votre hôpital. Voilà, c'était les points essentiels que je voulais souligner.
Thank you so much. And now I give the floor for the ambassador to Madam Ismail.
Thank you all very much for your comments and questions, which are very much appreciated. Allah Sudan, thank you very much. How do you refer patients? It's always a problem. She's on a mountain, she's in a desert, there's no bus line. There's no tramline. There's no donkey to take her. There's no means of transporting her. And it is always a problem. And one of the strategies that I use, if it helps, is that when we train midwives and we send them to a village and return them to work in the village, in their village of origin, I have a meeting with the men of that village. And I say, today you have these two midwives who are going to be working with you. They will identify problems that need to be referred elsewhere. And when these women identify a problem, I want you men to find the means to transport this woman who is having a problem to where she can be helped. Usually there's some sort of movement of transport. There's the milk truck that comes now and again. There's a herd that is going to the water well somewhere. Women have been brought to us on wheelbarrows. Women have been brought to us on the top of trucks. It's not easy to transport a woman who is bleeding, because even when there is a truck, it is carrying food and vegetables and chickens and what have you, and they will not take a woman who is bleeding and crying on top of their cargo, because their cargo is precious. So it is a problem that we have to find a solution for. But the good thing is that these trained midwives can take care of 80% of the problems that these women would have died of. No woman delivered by a trained midwife will die of infection, because she will make sure that her hands, her equipment, and the bedding she uses is clean. No woman, a midwife at Penny's, will die of tetanus, because she will make sure that that woman is delivered with clean equipment and has also been vaccinated. Free tetanus vaccination is provided by UNICEF and WHO. Women attended by midwives will be identified early when their blood pressure is rising. A little instrument, the sphygmomanometer, will tell me that this woman's blood is rising. And before it had reached a level when that woman will become unconscious and develop fits, I will make sure that that woman is taken to a place where she can receive the treatment. Or that midwife will provide the sedation and the treatment to hold that woman's blood pressure down to a safe level. Another option that we use is that we don't bring the woman to us. We take help to the woman. And the people who usually help us a lot, and we were very, very appreciative, is the radio that police had. The Rakal, I don't know if you use that. And of course now there's the magic mobile. There's the mobile phone. And one of the things that we give to a midwife when we are sending her out is we, yes, give her a lamp. Yes, we give her a torch, like Florence Nightingale did. Yes, we give her instruments, but we also give her a mobile phone with $20 credit on it. Because the network of mobile phones in Somaliland is one of the best in the world. It's cheaper for me to make calls from Somaliland than it is for me to make calls from here. So some of the problems that you have identified, we find solutions for. Some of the problems you identified, we're still trying to find solutions for. But the thing is, we're looking. We don't throw in the towel and say, there is no problem for this solution. We continue to look. And maybe the next generation will find a solution for it. In my generation, we have been able to find solutions up to this level. It's for the next relay to find solutions for the ones that I have not been able to find solutions for. In Tanzania, yes, men and fathers, brothers, husbands, grandfathers need to be sensitized. FGM, when we make FGM into a legal thing, we have to remember that when you make a law, you must be able to enforce that law. Never make a law that you cannot enforce, because then you will only be abusing that law. I know countries that have had the law for many years, and there's never been a conviction. Am I going to put every mother and every grandmother in jail? My God, I don't have the energy, and I don't have the space, and I don't have the intention of depriving a family from the help and the support of their mothers and their grandfathers, of their grandmothers. So, yes, we will have a law when the law can be enforced. You can have a law here because those who come to you will have the choice of either staying away or abiding by the law that you have in this country. You have the means to enforce it. In Somaliland, I don't have the capacity to enforce a law that will punish every mother and grandmother, so I've got to educate them. I have to make them the people who will look after the girls and not be the cause of damage to the girls. In South Africa, can we have the countries that have pirated away our trained people to help in their training? I wish they would. I wish they would. And I go to them and I say, I'm training 40 midwives. I've got 45 in training right now. I know that some of them will be stolen by you. Help me with some paper to make some photocopies for. Help me with a bit of marker pens. Help me with a laptop to give to my teachers to prepare lessons. Give me a teacher to help me train them better so they will work for you better when you eventually steal them from me. Does it come? No, it doesn't. Because my country is Somaliland and my country is a place on the dark side of the moon. But I wish they would give me a hand. But I must not look a gift horse in the mouth. Because I do have help. And a colleague in the European Union over there mentioned it, that yes, there is a project in Somaliland, in my hospital today, which is the training of senior midwives to the level of a Bachelor of Science degree in midwifery, which is funded by the European Commission. I don't know the difference between the European Commission and the European Union, so I apologize for my ignorance, but I know the EU is funding this through King's College Hospital and Tropical Health Education in England. So yes, there is some support for the Bachelor of Science degree in midwifery. But that is the tip of the pyramid. We need assistance for the base of the pyramid, for the large number who will go. The VSC midwife tomorrow will not go to a village. I know that. But if she remains in the training school, she will be part of the teachers. She will be the future leaders. She will be the future terrorists of injustice, like I have been. The terrorists of injustice, terrorists of ignorance, terrorists of disease. So yes, we are developing the officers in that army of health workers, but the base is ignored. I must also thank South Africa for having awarded me the University of Pretoria Gold Medal for Human Rights. Thank you. Can we do midwives, can they work in isolation? I've said that before. No, they cannot. But often they do. Not by choice, but by necessity. Because there is nobody more knowledgeable than they are, where they are, to give them the support that they need. So, in the Gandhi philosophy, half a loaf is better than no bread at all. If I can get a good midwife to go to a village, I'm grateful. If I can get a doctor to go out there to the village, I will retire soon because I need to retire, and they will be a good team. Training men and women together, yes. Health is for all. Shorten my comments. Health is for all. And we must not deprive men from being part of the solution for men. So I hope I have answered many of your questions, but then there's also the corridor, and I'd be happy to meet up with anybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really not a lack of our patience, just we have one more item on the agenda, and we have left something less than 20 minutes. So I would like to ask for the floor Dr. Joris van der Putte Vice President of the Initiative of Women.
There is time to answer some questions.
Thank you really very much, especially for keeping the time limit. We are really under a very strong time pressure because we have left something 10 minutes. So I would like to give the floor, please, Sudan.